Hello, welcome to the Long Island Weather Update. It is 11 o'clock on August the 5th, 2024. It's pretty hot one, especially here in Mineola. This was 11 a.m. and we were already 90 degrees in the alley, almost 70% humidity, and it's still like broiling in the alley. I just got back home, so I try to stay home, and it's still 80 degrees in the alley, by the way. So you saw that latest reading. 80 degrees, what was the humidity? 60%. So yeah, it's absolutely brutal. But let's get to the latest on Tropical Storm Debby right now. Slow-moving Debby bringing torrential rains to portions of southeastern United States. Major flood threat for the southeastern United States to continue for the next several days. As of 11 p.m., its location is 31.1 north, 82.1 west, about 60 miles north-northwest of Jacksonville, Florida, and about 35 miles west of Brunswick, Georgia. Maximum sustained winds are down to 45 miles an hour, moving northeast at just 7 miles an hour. Minimum central pressure 997 millibars to 9.44 inches. Let's go to the map here, and you'll see again the slow movement with this storm that we're going to be dealing with. It barely moves through Thursday, and then by Friday it just becomes a depression. But you see it could emerge out over the ocean. It could strengthen again. There are still a bunch of uncertainties with this storm. So let's first look at it on the satellite imagery. So we'll storms Debby. So here's what it looked like today on the satellite. I mean, you can still see it's getting energy from the warmer Atlantic. You can see some really impressive feeder bands there coming off the Atlantic right there, and probably some pretty decent rains with that too, and thunder and lightning as well. So let's look at that, and you'll see here, yeah, it looks like they're going to get pounded in South Carolina. A lot of rain here. A lot of rain has fallen. A lot more rain is going to fall. And you can see tropical storm warnings still in effect. Flash flood warnings, flood watches and flood warnings in effect. Tornado watches as well in effect for eastern North Carolina. And we have flood watches now extending up into Virginia. I'm not even going to talk about the West in this one. Sorry, guys. Let's look at the observations in our area. We also have a flood watch as well. So 79 degrees, southwest wind at 10, 79. I guess it's pretty warm. I guess the alley isn't that far off. But if you're on the South Shore, it's in the mid-70s. It's a hell of a lot better there. Wow, even the dew point. I don't know if that dew point is 64. I doubt it. I think dew points have gone up into the 70s today. We had a southwest wind. I had a westerly flow, which meant most areas got pretty warm today. Looking at the highs, around 90 across Long Island, low 90s in the city, in Jersey around 90. Fairly uniform temperatures for the most part. Lows, yeah, 70s. Nothing really too much to write home about here. We'll just briefly go over the climate report. Got 1,000,001 fans going in here, so you might hear them. 88 degrees for a high at Islip and 70 degrees for a low. That's 4 degrees above normal. Central Park got to a high of 90 and 73. So another heat wave at Central Park, 5 degrees above normal there. So let's go look at some of the observations going on for precipitation. We're going to head on down to the southeast here and just show you. And again, we're going to just thin these layers out just a little bit, just so you can see the precipitation numbers a little bit better. And we'll do 24-hour precipitation numbers here, so you can see how much rain has fallen here. And look at this. Some of the areas, look at this. A foot of rain already in some of these areas here in Florida. I still can't read where those cities are. But let's just make these layers just a little bit less here. All right, because I can't even read the names of these cities. But you can see Lake City, over 8 inches of rain. There's going to be a lot of there's a lot of flash flooding in these areas. Bad situation, and this is going to extending now into Georgia. And let's see if we can find Savannah in here. You can see 6-7 inches of rain, and this thing isn't done yet. It's just getting started. The winds are nothing really to. If we look at the observations here, you'll see the winds are not too strong anymore right now. It's mainly about the heavy rain that we're dealing with right in this area, and that's what it's going to be about with this storm. That is the main issue that we're seeing with Tropical Storm Debby now. So let's go look at the models and the GFS. We'll start off with the GFS here. We'll do the Eastern U.S. view, and you'll see here Debby comes in, and let's see if the GFS it just stalls it. Literally, it is just sitting over south, and then it reemerges back out over the water again. Then it goes backwards. The GFS is continuing to do this, taking the storm backwards, back into Georgia, and then up a cold front. It would bring us heavy rain on Saturday into Sunday. So this is some pretty crazy stuff. Now every model is different. Let's go to the icon here, because we're still seeing changes here. The icon is a lot different with this, and a lot worse for us. So the icon is much more intense. You can see he takes it offshore, then puts it back over land again, and then rides it up the coast to the almost up the Appalachians. So you see the models just all over the place. They don't know what to do because there's no steering currents. It's almost like, why even bother looking at these models? Because you know that you're not really going to really, see anything. You're not really going to see get a forecast because it's still a mess. You know what I'm saying? I got to get some water. I do apologize for that. I had to get something to drink, some post-nasal drip or whatever. But yeah, the models don't know what to do because of the steering winds. That's why we're having all these differences. So let's go back to the GFS, and we're going to look at the upper air here first. All right. So here we go. Here's the upper air, and at the GFS, we have the Atlantic Ridge right here. We have another ridge that's trying to build down over here on top of that, and that ridge is going to act to suppress this. And you can see it's just completely cut off. There's no steering currents. There's nothing. It just leaves it there. And then it brings it back westward again because it has a stronger Atlantic Ridge building back on Thursday, pushing this thing westward. And then you can see there's a strong ridge off the east, off of Maine that pushes it back this way. And then finally on the weekend, this trough comes through, picks up the moisture, and brings it through, and then we have the rain with it. Whereas if we look at the icon, icon doesn't give up. They don't do upper air. Okay. We'll look at the European then. Let's go to the European. So here's the European. Actually, they have two parameters here. Norm. Let's use, this is normalized anomaly. Okay, this is the normalized one. I don't really want to use that one. Let's just go to this one. So here's the European. So European, again, let's see what the European is doing with this thing. So you see it leaves it there. Does it sit there? It also has a very strong ridge that comes in. Again, off the east. It kind of pushes it back into South Carolina. But it pulls out a little bit faster. All right, this is the 18Z run. It pulls out a little bit faster and allows the moisture to get pulled up by this trough. And honestly, you think, all right, the European looks like that's the scenario that would happen because that's what is supposed to happen. But again, the models don't agree because of the jet stream. So let's go again, look at the jet stream here. The jet stream is just way up there. All right, so there's no steering currents over here. There's nothing to move this thing along. It's just cut off. And so the models just don't know what to do with it because of this. And that's the problem we have. And, you look at both the GFS and the European, and it's the same situation with the winds, but the European and the GFS have different ways of solving it. And right now the GFS so far has had a better track record. So even though the GFS situation seems the most unusual, it also is something that we have to consider. All right. And because of this, if we look at the total accumulated precipitation here, let's go to the total accumulated precipitation because this is what this storm is really going to be all about here, is the rainfall. And you can see here areas, look at this. This area just gets pounded. Southeastern Georgia, eastern North Carolina, we're talking over 20 inches of rain here. All right. And then we get some of that moisture, and then we could get another additional, possibly as much as 5 inches of rain from that when we get into that moisture, though there will be a front tomorrow that we'll have to talk about too. Let's go look at the European model now. Go to the 12Z European. All right, and I think these totals are underdone. I think they're underdone. All right, I think we could see more than this. There's a potential for even more than this. So this is in the European. brings more of that. They have different ways of bringing the moisture up. Let's go look at the icon model. Now, the icon model, obviously, is the most kind of threatening model because it has a stronger storm and a definitely more defined track on it. So every model is different, and this is the challenge that we have with this storm system. This is the challenge we have. So again, looking at the icon, and you see here the icon has a much stronger storm, by the way, and then it takes it out over the water, strengthens it again east of South Carolina, and then has it make another landfall, which is crazy, absolutely crazy kind of stuff. And then we get the remnants of it pushed up the coast Friday, and then it's out of here on Saturday. So the icon is quicker than the European is. So the European also takes it offshore, strengthens it again, brings it in, and the European is a little bit slower. All right, and the GFS, well, let me change this to the radar output. So the GFS it doesn't bring it as far out over the ocean, and therefore it doesn't have the opportunity to strengthen as much. So the GFS scenario might actually wind up being better. That if it strengthens again, it's going to cause more problems. All right. So yeah, we've got more models to look at, folks. So we're going to look at some of the short range models and see how they handle this, like the HRRR, for instance. All right. And I'm sure this ain't going to do that much here on the HRRR, but you can see plenty of those feeder bands. And let's see what the HRRR does. Kind of crawls it right along the coast, right up through Wednesday. Just a very slow march up the coast as far as up to Thursday. This is what the HRRR does. All right, we could look at the total accumulated precip on this, and you can see again. Yeah, look at that, over 20. This is what I think we're going to see a lot of these areas on the how about 2 feet of rain? It's just going to be terrible flooding in these areas. It's going to be very bad. The storm, this disaster is far from over. In fact, it's really just beginning. Let's go to the NAM next. Now, let's see. Actually, we have the 0Z NAM in fully because we're running a little bit behind. Came back a little later tonight. So let's see what the NAM's doing. Also, something similar. Let's see what the radar is here. The radar presentation. And the NAM, as it has it doing more loop-to-loops. Literally several of them. Literally right over the border there. And it just pounds the same areas over and over and over again. So that's what the NAM does. So we've been through all these models. We're talking about a lot about Debby. Let's just go to Tropical Tidbits. We're on Tropical Tidbits. Let's go to current storms and take a look at the latest satellite image for Debby. And you can see definitely losing its strength. But take a look at these blowups of convection offshore. You know, when this center reemerges out over the ocean again, this thing could strengthen again. And that's something that definitely needs to be considered. We can also look at the spaghetti models. Obviously, a lot of them are all over the place, but then they kind of agree on it eventually getting pushed off to the northeast in some way. All right. Intensity guides, none of them take it back to hurricane status, but I wouldn't be so sure about that, because let's go look at the water temperatures here. Let's go to the sea surface temperatures on the sea surface temperature anomaly on here, and SSTA, and you can see, yeah, we've got above normal water temperatures here, so that's definitely fuel for the storm. Let's look at our weather now. We're going to go to our weather. So, and again, we'll where is the satellite imagery? What did I do with it? Did I close it up? I think I closed it up. Let's go to the CONUS view, so we get a look at everything. All right. And again, here's Debby. Still very, very impressive. A little bit of smoke. I can see, yeah, it does not look good out west. Looks like the fires are getting worse again out there. I'm not even going to talk about it in this update. I'm sorry. I'll go over it for a little bit. You still got all those red flag warnings in effect and stuff. And the heat. Let's go to Pacific Northwest here. Yeah, let's see what we got going on over here. Yeah, there's the park fire. All these fires are going. Oh, yeah, that's not good. Ah, boy. It's just multiple disasters going on here in one. Let's see all these red flag warnings. The winds are picking up, and that's why you're getting all these fires worsening. So that's not a good situation at all. Let's look at the southeastern Alaska one. I don't see too much going on over here. Oh, there is a big one over here, it looks like, in British Columbia. But I'm not going to spend too much on the fires because we got a tropical situation we got to deal with. All right. And let's talk about tomorrow's weather for our area now. All right. So we'll go into our area and we'll look at the HRRR. I'll first start off with dew points and wind flow just to give you an idea of what's happening. So you can see there's cooler air that's off to the north. This is going to be a cold front that's going to slowly start approaching tomorrow, and it's going to set off showers and thunderstorms. You can see it's barely moving, all right? And you can see it slowly sinks to the south here. On Wednesday, it slowly starts sinking to the south, and we get into a northeast flow and a cooler flow and much more comfortable weather. Temperatures, you'll see that change too. So not dropping much tonight, and tomorrow inland is still going to probably be near 90, but a little bit cooler on the island because of the cloud cover and the shower and thunderstorm chances, which we're going to be talking about. And then Wednesday will be a lot cooler with a lot of cloud cover probably. We may struggle to reach 70 according to the HRRR. So let's go and look at the precipitation. And you'll see here that start off the day dry, but then look at what happens in the afternoon. Boom, a whole bunch of showers and thunderstorms just pop up right over us. Some of these could be strong to severe, perhaps. And we'll go to the Storm Prediction Center in a moment. But there's going to be a lot of rain with these, all right? Oh, did I mention there was a tornado in Buffalo today? Yeah, I shared that already. But you can see here, we got one round and then another round possibly later on at night if it holds together or not. But you can see what's going on. This front is just slowly crawling through. And the HRRR has shower chances continuing through Wednesday. All right. This is why I wound up spending a lot of time outside today, because this week we're going to be dealing with a lot of rain. So total accumulated precip through, this is not even before the moisture from Debby gets here. This is all from a stalled out cold front, because again we have no steering currents. But you could see that we could see 2 to 3 inches of rain. Perhaps some areas could see as much as 5 inches of rain, depending on where these showers and thunderstorms hit. So, the HRRR has us pretty wet because of this stalled front that we have. So if we go to the Storm Prediction Center, we'll move this over to tomorrow. And you'll see here, day 2, we've got a marginal risk for severe weather. And then there's a slight risk in a little bit further to the west. But we're in a marginal risk zone. And we go to day 3, that marginal risk goes away. But day 2, we definitely got to be concerned. Weather Prediction Center. And again, we spoke about this yesterday as well. So here's your front. And you can see the front just kind of just stalls out. Here we go, day 2, day 3. Trying to get that front offshore. And models have different opinions of it. Excessive rain. If we go to excessive rain, you'll see that if we go to day 2, we are actually moderate risk over New Jersey, slight risk for tomorrow, and of course we got the high risk where Debby is. So, like I said, we're going to see quite a bit of rain, and then we're still in the marginal risk for Wednesday, and then it still has us in for Thursday. So, and then we go back up to slight risk. So, this front, I was hoping it would sink a little further to the south, But some of the models are saying that's not going to happen. So let's go to some of the other models now. I'll go look at the NAM next. So let's do that. All right, so here's the NAM for tomorrow. And again, it just kind of, let's see, the NAM is not quite as robust. It has the activity popping off to the south. But again, whatever the case is, once it gets started in the afternoon, it's going to be wet right through. And those chances for rain looks like it continues Wednesday. Again, the NAM's trying to push it a little more to the south, but you see it just can't get there. And even Thursday, we're still dealing with chance of showers. So, yeah, although it will be cool, it will not be the kind of weather you're going to be able to walk around in because there will be a lot of rain around. And that is the problem that we're dealing with right now. So, been through all these models, I guess. Obviously, I don't think we'll be seeing much sunshine in the next couple of days because of that. If you want to look at the RGEM, which is the other model, we have the 0Z RGEM, and let's just use the 18Z run. It'll show the same thing here. Same idea. Here we are. Just sits over us. We're at Wednesday. We can't even get it to the south on Thursday, which I was really hoping Thursday we were going to be dry. And I know some people are thinking it was going to be dry, but you can see we're going to be stuck in this crap. Meanwhile, if you're upstate, Albany and up especially northern New England, you're going to have a nice day. Starting on Wednesday and continuing to Thursday. We have some cirrus, but other than that, you won't be dealing with all this rain. So if you want to escape the rain, go well up north, and you will. But like I said, we're going to have a very wet period this week. So let's now go and look at the what other models can we look at here? Obviously, I think that's pretty much it at this point. I could go to the GFS and I'll show you more of this. More of the same. Here's the GFS. The GFS, I feel a little more optimistic about sunshine tomorrow, but obviously after that, Wednesday, clouds. Thursday, stuck with stall front. You can see this front just doesn't go anywhere. We have to wait until Sunday before we finally push this damn thing away. Yeah. So let's go back to the southeast. And we're going to go back and look at the icon, which was the most intense with Debby. And I kind of want to see what it was generating with the winds. And this is the only scenario where the winds would pick up again. You can see it's starting to get that donut shape there, and it's strengthened. It actually has it strengthening pretty rapidly before making a second landfall in South Carolina. So, yeah, this is some crazy, crazy stuff. I mean, we're on uncharted territory here, folks. Uncharted territory. Uncharted territory. That's all I can say at this point. But the good news is, once this ends, and I'll go back to GFS. You can see GFS doesn't get it nearly as strong again because it doesn't take it that far out. But the icon seems to want to take it further out. The good news is, once this is all said and done, and once we're out of this mess, you'll see once this front comes through, once we get to Sunday, we're going to have some dry air. Dew points in the 50s and temperatures that will be very comfortable in the 70s. So finally some nice, comfortable weather that we'll be having. And maybe we'll actually have some blue skies, perhaps. Perhaps. But we got to get through the situation here with Debby first. Go to the European as well. So this is the European as well. Temperatures, I don't think we get dew points on the European. We do not get dew points on the European. But you'll see again that we've got, as we get behind this, and she does have it heat up a little bit on Saturday and then cools it down a little more. But the bottom line is we're not going to be dealing with any really big heat after this. So at least not for a while. I can run the GFS out a little further just for fun and see if it has any heat coming back into our area at all as we get toward it. Keeps us kind of cool. Yeah, I don't see any really big here. Maybe as we get toward the end of the period, it starts to heat up again. But speaking of that, I know I failed to do the climate prediction center last night. Everything going on. So here you go. And 6 to 10 day, they've got below normal temperatures in the east. probably because of all the clouds and the rain that we're going to have. Not much sunshine, above normal in the south and the west. And you can see precipitation above normal in the 6 to 10 day. But oddly enough, below normal in the interior southeast, 8 to 14 days. Still above normal precipitation, and we still have a little area below normal on the east coast, with much of the country in above normal temperatures. So, and honestly, I'm surprised that they didn't put the precipitation well above normal here, because I think they'll be... But if we go back here, actually, go back to the 6 to 10 day, you'll see that it does have above normal precipitation in parts of the west. And maybe that will mean cooler temperatures and more rain, so they can get those fires under control, let's hope. So, yeah, let's go to Ventu Sky. We're not done yet. We've got to visualize a whole bunch of things. Let's talk about the thunderstorms for tomorrow as well. We've got to look at Cape, all right, for tomorrow as well. So you can see this is all going to pop right around 2 o'clock. And like I said, we're going to have to watch for some severe weather tomorrow. It could be... there's definitely some Cape there. That's for sure, with this front again approaching. Let's go and look at the wind gusts, and we're going to go down here, and we're going to look at what this does with Debby. All right, so let's see if it takes it back out over the ocean again. So I think this uses the... Oh, yeah, it does. It does. So what model are we looking at here? The Icon. Okay. So this is the Icon, and this is 10 o'clock on Wednesday. And look at what it does. Strengthens it back to a hurricane again. You know, with those really warm waters and basically no wind shear at all, you know, this thing could really just explode again. And cause more problems in South Carolina. I haven't even gone over the power outage map yet. I got to do that too. So you can see what this does. All right, and then to see what it could possibly bring to our area in terms of wind, we'd have to go into, I guess it would be Saturday here, like Friday night, as it race up the coast here, and we could be dealing with some strong wind gusts too. Nothing crazy, but definitely some strong wind gusts that could cause some coastal flooding issues. All right, let's go to windy.com. There's so much to talk about, man, I'm telling you. All right, so we'll go to the European model now. Let's move this along and see what this does with the winds. It does get it back out over the water again, and the European does the same thing as the Icon. Tries to strengthen it again. And again, this is all entirely possible here, that this Debby could become another hurricane again and make a landfall around Myrtle Beach. Which would be pretty crazy stuff, let me tell you. Pretty crazy. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. And then that would make its way up the coast. And then the Euro is worse with the wind. This is not looking good here for the Euro. So if the Euro gets right, we're going to be dealing with some pretty strong winds here. Could we deal with another Isaias type of event here? You know. We got a ways to go. There's a whole bunch of possibilities here. Let's see what it would do with the waves. Yeah, this would be a bad situation for the South Shore. 14-foot waves. It's not good at all. So, yeah, it's not good at all. All right, let's go to poweroutage.us. Florida's still in the red, but they're down already. They had almost over 200,000. They are restoring power very quickly in a lot of parts of Florida. Let's see, Madison, Hamilton, Sewanee. It looks like there's still one county that's got Jefferson's mostly out, but they're restoring power pretty quickly. It's probably because the transmission system wasn't damaged. It's mostly distribution, and they're able to, you know, get people back online quicker. But you can see Georgia, we have power outages in the south here, and then also already South Carolina as well, seeing some power outages. So you know what, that wraps up this Long Island weather update. A lot to talk about. It's going to be a very busy week here as we watch Debby, stall front tomorrow, possible severe weather and flooding tomorrow. We could be seeing a lot of rain. You know, it's not just this could be the whole East Coast that's affected by all this heavy rain, not just from Debby, but because of the stalled front. Again, this is what happens when you don't have a normal jet stream. You don't have normal steering currents because of climate change, because of Arctic amplification. That weakens the flow of the jet stream. It causes it to be wavy, weaker, and this is what you get. This is what you get. This is what we were told that was going to happen, and this is exactly what's happening. So don't be surprised when it happens. Have a good night, everybody.